After the big BJP wins in the elections that have just concluded, what is the future of the India alliance? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Our deep dive today continues to be on the after effects of the elections that have just concluded, that have left the Congress stunned despite their big win, their only win in the state of Telangana. Allies are furious. During the campaign, you had Akhilesh Yadav of the Samajwadi party describing the Congress to be a Chalu party. You've now had the National Conference leader Omar Abdullah go on record after the Congress calls for a meeting of the India Alliance members to say that they have remembered us after 3 months. Also, will the Congress continue to occupy its pivot position within the opposition bloc? Intriguingly, it is now reported that the CPM in Kerala wants Rahul Gandhi to contest the Lok Sabha elections outside of the state of Kerala and not be a member of parliament from Wayanad anymore. The left's argument is that surely the Congress battle should be frontally against the BJP and not against the CPM. A lot to unpack as we ask whether the India Alliance will survive, and if so, in what form. Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at this big political question. Joining us from the BJP is Vineeta Hariharan, leader and spokesperson of the party from Kerala. In fact, thank you very much, Vineeta, for joining us. Also joining us from the Samajwadi party is its spokesperson and leader, Ghanshyam Tiwari. Always good to see you, Ghanshyam. Tavleen Singh, veteran author and columnist, is with us. Always a pleasure. And joining us from the Congress today is Mohan Kumaramangalam, senior leader and spokesperson of the party. Thank you very much, Mohan. It's good to see you. I want to set the frame of our conversation by playing out a clip of Omar Abdullah. I think it captures what many of the allies and other members of the India Alliance have been feeling, and then we'll open it up for the conversation. Listen in.
को खुद देखना होगा ना, कांग्रेस के किसी लीडर ने अगर बयान दिया तो उसमें मुझे टिप्पणी या कमेंट करने की क्या जरूरत है। सर, अपना राय
आज के रिजल्ट के बारे में क्या कहेंगे? जो भी रुझान आ रहे हैं इसके बारे में क्या कहेंगे? क्या स्थिति है?
बीजेपी को तो मुबारक कहना ही होगा, क्योंकि हम शायद ये उम्मीद नहीं कर रहे थे। हमें लग रहा था, जो हम सुन रहे थे, बाकी तो ग्राउंड पे क्या था वो तो दूसरी बात है, लेकिन दोस्तों से, साथियों से कम से कम हम ये सुन रहे थे कि छत्तीसगढ़ में तो कांग्रेस आराम से आगे है, मध्य प्रदेश में भी वो जीत जाएंगे, तेलंगाना में तो उनकी कॉन्फिडेंस थी, और यहाँ तक कह रहे थे कि राजस्थान में भी वो आखिर में निकल आएंगे। जब नतीजे सामने आए तो मां सिवाय तेलंगाना के उनकी बाकी बातें जो हैं वो बेबुनियाद साबित हुई। ना वो छत्तीसगढ़ बचा सके, ना वो मध्य प्रदेश वापस जीत सके, और ना वो राजस्थान दोबारा जीत पाए। मध्य प्रदेश में देखिए ना, अब शायद थोड़ी देर के लिए कमलनाथ जी चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे, लेकिन उसको छोड़ के अब 20 साल तो हो गए, ये 5वां टर्म शायद शुरू होने जा रहा है। ये कोई मामूली बात नहीं है। और 6 तारीख को शायद कांग्रेस के सदर ने कुछ इंडिया अलायंस के लीडरों को खाने पे बुलाया है। चलिए 3 महीने के बाद उनको दोबारा इंडिया अलायंस याद आया, अब देखते हैं उस पर क्या बात होती है।
सर, इंडिया अलायंस का फ्यूचर क्या रहेगा, क्योंकि आप भी उसका हिस्सा है?
मैं कह नहीं सकता हूँ ना। जिस तरह इंडिया अलायंस का इन स्टेट इलेक्शंस में हाल रहा, अगर आगे जाके भी यही हाल रहेगा तो हम शायद बच नहीं पाएंगे। समझ में नहीं आता, या तो कांग्रेस पूरी तरह से मध्य प्रदेश में ग्राउंड सिचुएशन को समझ नहीं पाई, नहीं तो क्या जाता अगर वो अखिलेश यादव को 5-7 सीटें दे देते, क्या तूफान होता। वैसे भी क्या जीता उन्होंने, फिर नहीं जीत पाए ना। अगर अखिलेश यादव को 5-7-10 सीटें दे देते, मुमकिन है कि थोड़ा और हमारा बचाव मध्य प्रदेश में हो जाता, नहीं किया। नतीजा
Okay, let me take that to Mohan Kumaramangalam. Mohan, there's a great deal of anger and angst. I'm sure Ghanshyam will add to it later as we speak. Do you believe that your party made a mistake in not showing enough respect? Whoops, are you able to hear me? Mohan, go ahead. Well, I don't think Mohan is able to hear. Okay, Ghanshyam, let me bring you in as an ally, what you're feeling today. Ghanshyam.
Well, good evening, Barkha ji, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. 3 things stand. Obviously, the verdict is a major shot in the arm for BJP and a setback for Congress Party and the India Alliance. Two, that the arrogance of Congress Party, especially Kamal Nath ji in Madhya Pradesh, lead the verdict against them in a small way, not in a big way, because there's a 9% margin. And three, that it opens the floodgates of criticism, of commentary, of disapproval or disappointment with respect to India Alliance. This is the situation today. That said, there are two other things that look at this way forward. One is that BJP is shunted out of south of India. Apart from Puducherry, there is no other state where they have a government. Even in Puducherry, they just have a government because they are alliance partner with not major votes. And there is a sentiment against BJP, which is very strong in several southern states. That is an important thing as the national story comes together. Second, with Congress, due to this verdict, set to take a back seat in the Hindi heartland, the politics of Hindi heartland and the narrative of Hindi heartland seems to be firmly saddled with Nitish Kumar ji, Tejasvi Yadav ji, Akhilesh Yadav ji, Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal, the Hindi heartland leaders who have a stronger grassroots connection with respect to cadres, with respect to their narrative, and their narrative is not a shifting goalpost. We have spoken about caste census continuously. It's not a shifting goalpost. In Bihar, JDU, RJD have demonstrated the impact of caste census. It's not a shifting goalpost. For Congress Party, they tried to accomplish too much too soon by picking up a caste census narrative, by also simultaneously running a campaign single-handedly in these states, and then in some way not landing in the right place as a result. So I think that the fact that the Hindi heartland politics is centered around regional parties is a good thing for upcoming 2024 election. BJP will find it tough. In Bihar, already you covered Bihar extensively. In Bihar, BJP is already facing the challenge of caste census and the rejection of caste census that they have done. This will have impact in Uttar Pradesh also. The campaigns are yet to begin. But Hindi heartland is not a solved story for BJP, irrespective of this verdict.
And I'm intrigued by two things you said, and I'm hoping Mohan Kumaramangalam of the Congress is able to reconnect. But anyway, we'll keep the conversation going. You said regional parties will now lead the way in the Hindi heartland. The Congress will have to take a back seat. You spoke about what you call the arrogance of Kamal Nath. Can you share a little more about this arrogance? It's a comment that a lot of people have made, in fact, from different parties and different sort of political commentators have been saying the same thing. Can you give us an example of this arrogance?
Well, clearly the fact that the alliance discussions failed and then he was dismissive towards Akhilesh Yadav ji, a leader with such track record, so many years in politics, knows what he is saying. So when he uses that kind of language, he knows that he is unnecessarily denting otherwise good alliance that was coming together, which is an India alliance. And that he confidently thought that BJP will be defeated when there was a 9% margin between the two parties. That is something that to think about. But looking ahead to the point where that the regional party lead the narrative formation in Hindi heartland, that is certainly going to happen because unlike the Congress party, whether it is Bihar, whether it is Uttar Pradesh, whether it is Delhi, whether it is Bengal, at least in these states, there is a formidable grassroots presence of regional parties, along with a narrative that or a team that goes in line with their narrative. Congress can take away from the fact that there is over 40% vote share that they received in these three states. So turning that 40% to a 48%, 47% for 2024, if there is a cohesive India alliance, is not an impossible task. I think for BJP, it is far more impossible to garner a support base in south of India, where I believe the aspirational aspect of the campaign will be women.
Okay, we'll put that to Vineeta in a moment. Mohan, I'm very much hoping that you're able to hear me now. 2 points were made by your colleague from the India bloc, the arrogance of Kamal Nath. He elaborated on that. And two, that the Congress can no longer occupy pivot position in the Hindi heartland. That pivot position in the opposition bloc would now have to be taken by the same regional parties that were ignored by the Congress. You also heard Omar Abdullah. Do you believe that the Congress and Mr. Kamal Nath in particular sort of made a big mistake in the way Akhilesh Yadav was treated. I'm not saying that it would have necessarily changed the overall outcome of the election, but I'm just making the point that you wouldn't have at least had allies disgruntled, allies furious 5 months before the general election.
Isn't Barkha, the principle on which the India Alliance is founded, or let's say the guiding principle, is that the dominant party in that particular state takes the lead and tries its best, if possible, to adjust the alliance parties who are second or third or maybe playing fourth fiddle in that state. I don't think the Samajwadi Party has a considerable base in Madhya Pradesh. It's really very much a bipolar polity between the Congress and the BJP. And I think Mr. Kamalnath tried to have a conversation with Mr. Akhilesh Yadav and see if some of the things that he was asking for, the seats that he was asking to contest with the candidates he had, made sense for the alliance to win or not. And he determined it didn't. I mean, if we had won this election, then you couldn't make that allegation. Now that we've lost that election, of course, hindsight 2020, you can come up with any number of reasons to say that's why we lost. And it's because we didn't adjust this ally or that ally. I think the guiding principle is that the poll party in that state will take the lead and will try to see if they can adjust the other parties, because with the solitary goal of trying to defeat the BJP, this time we failed. There's no two ways about it. But to say that that is the reason we failed, I think would be, a little
But
uncharitable to Kamalnath ji.
Okay, but CSD has released some data. This is in the context of Rajasthan, where they looked at the performance of some of the smaller regional parties in seats with narrow margins. And what CSD has found was that had there been an alliance, there could have actually been a difference, according to Sanjay Kumar of the CSDS, in his estimation, in 30 seats, because he argued that in 44 seats of Rajasthan, the third party or an independent polled higher votes than the victory margin of the BJP. I'm sure you've seen some of these numbers as well, Mohan. So in all of these 44 seats, Congress was a runner-up. Now imagine if the Congress was a runner-up with some of these smaller parties. It is something to think about, isn't it? The Congress overestimated itself.
So I haven't seen the analysis done by CSDS, but I will say, coming from a state where coalitions are par for the course, that it isn't necessary that A plus B is actually adds to each other. So there is something called vote transference, and it's not necessary that if an independent is standing and you treat him as an ally, his entire vote is transferred to you. It might be that a very meager portion of his vote actually gets transferred to the alliance partner who's standing in election there. So these are all the considerations that you have to make. You can't just add up two numbers and say, okay, that was the difference. We would have gotten the entire 100% vote that individual got, and so we would have pulled that seat out. So these are considerations that the state leadership has to take into account. And like I said, I think Kamalnath ji is also a veteran in politics. He's won his seat. He won his son won Chinwada when everybody lost in Madhya Pradesh in the last parliament election. So I would think twice before double guessing his strategy or what he went in with. I mean, we've lost now, so clearly it's time to introspect and try and figure out. But I think it's not very, it's not an in-depth analysis, or it's very sort of shallow to say that the only reason we lost is because we didn't adjust ally A or ally B.
No, Yeah, I wasn't suggesting it was the only reason. I was just putting it out as something to think about, as something to talk about, considering that we have two of your allies on record in this program, Omar Abdullah in that statement and Ghanshyam Tiwari, more than peeved. Tavleen, let me bring you in and then I'll come to Vineeta. What do you see as the future of this India bloc? When it was launched, it was announced with great fanfare. Many people thought that the name itself was very clever. The BJP immediately targeted the name. And there was a lot of fanfare, a lot of sort of show around it, a lot of attention to it. How do you see the alliance now, and do you still see it as a factor if they can get their act together in the run-up to 24?
Well, for a start, the fanfare you're talking about was really in the media. We mustn't start believing our own stories, okay? We've actually got to analyze and not just put out our own narrative. I agree with Mohan that, what would these parties have achieved by being given seats in any of these states? Would Umar Abdullah being there have made a difference? Would Akhilesh? I think they should have adjusted a little because he's on the edge of Madhya Pradesh. But I actually think that there's something much deeper. There's a rot in the India alliance that is much deeper, which is what they should address. These are not political parties anymore. They are family firms. There's almost not a party in this alliance that doesn't have the air of some political leader who's training his own heir. Now, with Modi's narrative being so very strongly against Parivarwad, you would have thought that by now they would have come up with at least another story that they could take to the people. Caste, I mean, really, this is going back rather than forward. So I actually think that there are much deeper reasons why the BJP won. And, one of them is that you've got these political parties who haven't bothered to build their parties. They've just been, they're collections of courtiers around a prince. You cannot, these days, the voter is much smarter than somebody who you can fool with that. And also, by the way, we have to accept that the Congress party, out of them all, is the only national party. So, if they've been a little bit, high-handed, they have good reason. Which of these parties has developed to become a national party?
But can I ask, while you make the point about the parties being family firms and so on, it's not as if there's no dynasty in the BJP. The BJP just brought in Mr. Yediyurappa's son as the state president of Karnataka. There are many other examples I could give you. It's not that the BJP is with... Yes, Mr. Modi doesn't represent that. I take that point, but it's not that there's no dynasty within the BJP.
No. There's a difference. I'm not saying that there aren't political heirs in the BJP, but there's nobody who's actually inheriting the BJP. Modi is not going to hand it over to his brother, or, Rajnath Singh is not going to hand it over to his son. There is really a sickness in these other parties. The whole political party belongs to the heir. And you've already got revolts going on. So they've got 6 months in which they've really got to pull their act together. They've got to stop being family firms, and they've got to build the party structure up from the bottom. I've said that about Congress, but it's also true of all these other parties,
Okay.
from Kashmir to Kanyakumari,
Okay, Mohan briefly, then Vineeta. Mohan?
I don't think the dynasty issue affects electoral politics. And I will say, interestingly, that maybe one of the reasons why dynasties or families control parties is because of the over centralization of our polity these days, where individual candidates matter less and less with every progressive election. And so I come from a state where this has been going on for 50 plus years. Our elections, whether they be in the Vidhan Sabha or the Lok Sabha, are completely presidential. The individual candidate rarely, if ever, matters more than 1 or 2% of his vote. Everything else is the vote for the CM or the vote for the PM. But that culture has been expanded by none other than Mr. Modi, where wherever he goes, whether it's Vidhan Sabha or Lok Sabha, he asks for votes in his name. So the individual candidate's importance, as it diminishes with every progressive election, you will then have the platform being over and above the most important thing, which I don't think is good for our democracy, by the way. I'll say that that's my opinion.
Okay.
And then whoever controls the platform ends up controlling, the polity or the politics of the day.
I do have to go to Vineeta. Tavleen briefly. Yeah.
The point that I was making is that Mr. Modi is not handing over the BJP to his heirs. Mr. Modi is going with a record of what he says he's done and asking for votes, for that reason. Not, of course, the elections have been presidential. They've been presidential since the time of Mr. Nehru. They've been presidential. You think Indira Gandhi was not on every ticket all the time? So, that's an old story. That's a very old story. I'm talking about something different. It's when you have dynastic parties, you don't build the party structure. The BJP has built a massive electoral machine. How are you going to take that on with little political...
Mohan, literally one sentence, Mohan. I have to go to Vineeta. Yeah.
Tavleen ji, it's not like we haven't taken them on and won. We won Himachal, we won Karnataka, we won Telangana against an entrenched state player who nobody thought we could defeat either. So Congress has had victories, we've had losses, but please don't make our cadre sound like it's ossified and that we have no hope on the ground. It just so happens we lost 3 important elections. we will pick ourselves up and go to the ground again. And we do have a strong cadre across the country, which none of the other players in our alliance do, which is a
I have
national
I have a lot of questions about some of the responses that have come from individual Congress leaders, from state units for you, Mohan, but I just need to get Vineeta into the conversation. Vineeta, you've heard some leaders making the point about the North-South divide. Others disagree with that. You're in the South, and you're also in a state where the left now seems to be suggesting that Rahul Gandhi should take his Lok Sabha fight to a state where he's directly taking on the BJP. How do you see this from your perch?
No, absolutely. So, see, BJP being a North-South party it's itself in a false narrative. It's a non-starter argument because if you see the statistics, it's for everybody to analyze and see that we are, an emerging force in Telangana. We've grown from 1 to 8. In Kerala, we have about 12% vote share. In Karnataka, we are the opposition. In AP and Tamil Nadu, Congress and BJP are almost in equal stakes. And, we are growing as a party, and we have about 28 MPs in South India. So this entire narrative is falsely, kind of stitched up by the Congress because they're losing the plot completely. We've seen how, they have lost in these elections in the three states, which is almost, half of the 543 Lok Sabha seats. So, so there's nothing for them to speak anymore except throw these stones at this huge edifice that BJP has built on the ground. But the sheer hard work of the efforts of the Modi government, I would say, efforts of Modi ji and our government on the ground, on the implementation of our programs. If you see the analysis of the results of Rajasthan, also the voters have actually voted for the efficacy of the central government programs more than the state government programs. So that itself
it is true, notwithstanding the improvement in Telangana and the Lok Sabha sweep in Karnataka, that the South remains a kind of collection of states where, by the way, outside of Kerala, even the Congress is not necessarily a major player anymore. Vineeta.
Yes, unfortunately, the South, what we see is
the power just went out on Vineeta as she was making that point, but I'm sure she'll come back and complete her point. Ghanshyam, I want to bring you in before we get lost in the North-South debate. The point that has been made by both Tavleen and Mohan about the somewhat irrelevance of the regional parties, also them being these family firms, one person, one family, one person parties almost. Do you want to come in on that, Ghanshyam?
Well, there's a problem when you decide the goalpost and are going to analyze and criticize everything from that position. I think Tavleenji's position is that she's decided the goalpost that Modi ji is a hardworking leader with everything going right for him and regional parties wrong. The fact is that in Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi party got around 3 crore votes. Adityanath is a prodigy of a family politics. He is not somebody who came from the grassroots. I'm sure Tavleenji would know that. And BJP got 3 crore 80 lakh votes. The fact is that across these 4 states, the difference of number of votes across 10 crore votes that were polled between BJP and Congress is a few lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. And if you add Telangana, Congress polled more votes than BJP. Yes, BJP has a dazzling campaign powered by countless amount of money, countless use of central machinery, countless use of media glare, and Modi at the center. But when you look at 2024, without having a fixated goalpost, here is what you will see. BJP has no aspirational agenda to offer. The 2024 election is not going to be a Achhe Din election. There is no promise of 2 crore jobs. There isn't a promise of 500 rupees cylinder.
But what is the aspirational narrative of the India Alliance?
Let me complete one part.
Okay.
One part first.
Sure.
There is no promise of a 50 rupees petrol. It will be 200 rupees if they win. There's no promise of a dollar that will come that will downgrade to rupee. There is no promise of doubling the farm income. There's no promise of a house for every household. These are the aspirational promises that BJP made to people of India. As far as India Alliance is concerned, it is okay to dismiss caste as a retrograde factor, but the fact is that it is the politics and the social justice movement that has ensured that caste doesn't count with as much discrimination in politics, but it still counts as a discriminatory factor in society. That is the reason people in Bihar are celebrating. Do you think BJP stands any chance in Bihar? Do you think that the aspect of caste census does not matter to people in Uttar Pradesh?
Okay, let me bring it up.
So a final point. I think jobs remain an aspirational agenda that BJP cannot promise. Price rise remains an aspirational agenda that BJP cannot promise, and caste equality, especially in the heartland states such as Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, remain an aspirational agenda that neither Congress or BJP can stand on.
Okay, can I bring in Tavleen, and then I want to go back to Mohan and Vineeta. Tavleen, go ahead.
Yeah, look, I object to you deciding what my goalposts are. You can't talk like that. I don't criticize your argument. Convince me of your argument, but don't start making personal allegations like I come here with goalposts in mind. I'm not a party spokesperson like you. I have no goalposts there. I'm actually analyzing what I see. So please, no personal remarks.
There is not a personal remark. I mentioned your argument.
Of course it is. Of
I
course
mentioned
it is.
you can take objection. I mentioned an argument.
With an agenda. I'm sorry, you did say it, and you should say sorry to me.
No, I will not. I said.
Oh, okay. Let me intervene here. Ghanshyam, can I say on your behalf that you did not mean any personal comment, and then we can move on? Is that fair?
There was nothing personal about it.
All right.
There's a certain fixation to a certain outcome.
Okay. All right. Okay. Tavleen, let's take it from Ghanshyam that nothing personal will be said and has been said, and let you have your say on what he said so far.
Well, I don't understand what he's saying, because the point is you can't argue with the box office. Why is Mr. Modi winning? Why is he still there as the tallest leader? Is it because he's let the people down? Or because your leaders haven't grown enough to match him? So when you say, the BJP is not an aspirational thing, if a movie flops on Friday, that's it. That's the story is over. Mr. Modi has proven, and some of his chief ministers have as well, that they have taken to the people an agenda that the people like. Now, fight with that. That's what you should be taking on. Not, the BJP. Again, I hate to sound as I'm quoting Modi, but, it is a negative. The whole campaign seems to be a negation of the BJP. That's not what's going to win you the next election.
Mohan, Kumaramangalam, let's take a look at some of the decisions that all of you will have to make. You must have read the reports that the CPM wants Rahul Gandhi to take a different state. They're saying if the political opponent is the BJP, why are you a member of parliament from Wayanad? Then there has been this sort of north-south framework that some of your colleagues have tried to place on the result. And then even more, I would say, because I don't agree with it, even more worryingly is the Madhya Pradesh unit of the Congress today blamed the EVM. So far, it had not been an official response of the Congress. Today, I think I saw a tweet like that from the Twitter handle of the MP unit. Is this being a bad loser?
I mean, the Congress hasn't officially made a statement. The All India Congress Committee hasn't officially made a statement on this whole suspicion around the EVM. So I can only give you my personal opinion, which is that you can't talk about it now. I mean, even if you're suspicious about it, the time to talk about it is either before contesting or before the results come out. This isn't the time to discuss it in any which way or even point to being a suspicion. I mean, you could discuss it internally in the party and then choose a strategy to which you want to apply yourself to for the national elections, but not about this election. I wouldn't agree with the way that is being done. I would need to respond to a little bit of what the BJP spokesperson said. She said, Tamil Nadu, we are equal. I mean, they contested 25 seats in an alliance with ADMK, won 4. We won 18 out of the 25 that we were given. So we are nowhere near equal. We have 8 MPs. They have 0 MPs. So let's not get into comparing Tamil Nadu, where there is a huge favorability rating for Rahul Gandhi as Prime Minister, 75%. Mood of the Nation says that, and maybe 25% for Mr. Modi. I also think we shouldn't treat the entire South as one, completely distinct areas with their own individual peculiarities. Karnataka is BJP is very much a player. So is it growing in Telangana. I will admit to that as well. But far behind Congress. Now the Congress is in government formation stage and now has formed government. So each state has its own peculiarities. You can't consider the South as sort of one big unit versus the North. What was your original question, Barkha? Sorry if I'm asking.
Well, I asked all three of these questions: the North, South, the EVM, and the MP Congress, of course, continues to tweet about the EVMs. You said the Congress, centrally has not taken a position. You've expressed your own position, and then the question was about what the CPM has said about Rahul Gandhi and Wayanad. If you want to come in on that, I think we can come out of this tweet now, and let's hear from Mohan. Yeah, Mohan.
I think where Mr. Gandhi chooses to contest is really where he believes he wants to contest and has the best chance to actually enter Parliament from.
But isn't it linked to the questions around the India alliance? That's why I'm raising it. Sorry.
No, I don't think it is. Like I said again, I mean, in places like Kerala, for example, where even though we are partnered with CPIM in many different states, in Kerala, we're in direct conflict with them. And in fact, I should say the CPIM should say that they shouldn't contest any of the states in Kerala, because I can guarantee you today, even if they do, they won't win a single one. Ask any psephologist worth his salt today, the Congress will sweep Kerala. So the CPIM is one who actually in a parliament election should realize that even though they're in government, when it comes to a Lok Sabha election, they're on the back foot and they should actually not contest any of the seats from Kerala. But you can't tell them to do that because that's the last state they have left. So we will have a friendly contest, I guess, between the two of us in all those states, and they will end up losing. So there are areas of conflict, Barkha. I think this may happen in Punjab too. I'm saying this from my own opinion. I don't think the party has taken a call on it, and it's above my pay grade to even talk about it. But I think we'll end up doing the same thing in Punjab. So there are going to be places where both of us feel that we are not going to be able to arrive at. But I think the India Alliance, from what I've told, has about 450 seats where they feel they can put up one candidate. Maybe that goes down to 400 through our discussions. But I think that's going to be the most important thing that the alliance focuses on in this month, and maybe hopefully closes out by early next month.
Okay, I've got just a couple of minutes left. Vineeta, if you want to come in, it's. I think Mohan makes an important point about the South not being a monolith, right? And I think there's also this sort of discomfort. Someone made this very important point that even the BJP in the South has to adapt depending on which state it is. The Karnataka BJP will not be the same as the UP BJP. So there are these variations, and those variations in your politics too will have to be made. So, you're making broad general statements, but specifically the BJP's attempt to move out of its stronghold in the north, and it went into Telangana with great hopes. It's improved its performance, but it's nowhere near being a party with a strong presence in the south. Vineeta, can you hear me? Okay, Vineeta signals clearly acting up. Let me start taking concluding comments. Ghanshyam, it's over to you.
Well, I think that the easy read of 2023 verdict is that BJP has full control of 2024. But as a politician who's looking at the aspirations of people and looking at the diversity in the country, I believe that a party that has not fulfilled the basic minimum agenda of the aspirational population, especially the youth, is not going to be in full control of 2024. 2024 is...
That is on the BJP. What would be your expectation of the India Alliance, since that is our subject today?
Well, India Alliance, the expectation is a cohesive coalition that has an aspirational narrative and that has the ability to fight on its strength in each state.
Tavleen, let me give you the last word.
To say that if the India Alliance did not exist, we would have to invent it, because we cannot have the BJP, you cannot give them a cakewalk in 2024. It would be bad for India, and I really hope that this alliance gets its act together.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much to Vineeta, Tavleen, Mohan, and Ghanshyam. The debate continues. It will be interesting to see what happens at the next meet of the India Alliance. A lot has changed after these assembly elections. Yes, winning and losing is a part of politics, but it's equally part of ruthless politics for power dynamics to shift as the fortunes of political parties and political leaders go up and down. That is unfortunately the harsh truth of the world we live in. Thank you very much to our panel and to our audience for watching. See you later. See you soon. Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.